I said, do you want me to show you? Because I was afraid to look at it. And he's like, yeah, I want to see it. So I showed him first like this. And he looked a little bit. You could tell that, I mean, he would have been happy it was an 8. So I could tell, all right, I just won the tournament. I've been struggling with my own ego. And then, when your best friend's like, hey, what's wrong with you? And losing to Dwan, I mean, I fell a lot. And that was good for me. And actually in my ego falling, I began to rise. And the legitimate person that I am, that these guys in the 10Ks play with every day, I'm pretty sure I can say they know me and they love me, as a really good guy. And that comes out a little bit more than the, bragging.
How do you keep your ego in check for the rest of the summer, knowing that you've had so much success already?
That's easy for the rest of the summer, but I'll be worrying about my ego again in, December. I think right now I'm just so locked in and focused that it just doesn't really matter. I mean, I won this bracelet, and all I could think about is a hand I should have played in Omaha 8 or better, and a hand I shouldn't have played in stud from those 2 final tables. And I was unlucky at those 3 final tables. It's just a fact. But 1 or 2 small mistakes can make a huge difference in whether you win or lose. So I told my wife, I said, honey, what am I doing? It's 7 in the morning. I'm thinking about these tiny mistakes I made and 2 other final tables.
So what was it that pushed you back to center after that 10K stud final table? Because like I referenced earlier, at this final table last night, you were composed, you were calm, you didn't get up from the table, you were just in your seat and you seemed locked in. What changed?
Yeah, I'm not sure that much changed, except that I got beat up a little bit. This concept of getting beat up, when I say I got beat up, I mean I'm just meaning it in the healthiest possible way.
Right.
And so, I mean, literally there were, hundreds of tweets calling me out. And, and then I think some of my sponsors actually liked it.
Any attention.
And so, but I went too far.
Right.
There's no doubt. And people misinterpret it. I mean, if you watch that final table tape, I introduced the burning down stuff as a joke. I said, this is a joke that's going to get me in trouble.
Right.
And then I brought it up again later. And of course, the haters cut that out of context and made me look bad.
When are the haters going to go away, Phil?
But the world didn't buy it. You know what I mean? The world didn't buy it this time. They're like, there's something, that's not Phil. And so that really was nice for me.
When are the haters going to go away?
Never. I mean, listen, you want to be, the greatest of all time, and I don't like being in this mode talking this way. But the way they call me out, it's frustrating. And and I think right now I've earned that title for this moment in poker for the last 2 or 3 years, and maybe the next 2 or 3 years I'm the greatest of all time in tournaments. I think even most of the young guys agree with that. But now they're looking for anything to pick on. Oh, he hasn't done it enough other tournaments. I'm not getting as much credit as maybe I deserve in the mixed games because I have too many seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths, and it's just harder to win. You can play perfectly and finish second or third or even sixth. That horse tournament, man, I came to 1.6 million. I played really, really well and just never really won a hand, and I'm out. And, but in No Limit Hold'em or Deuce to 7, there's a lot more skill, right? So now I can see, I can make a fold no one else folds because I think the guy's super strong. I can make a raise no one else makes because I think he's super weak. I moved in with a 2-card draw a couple of times, and he and I were both playing I think we were playing good. Let's talk about Jake for 1 second. I mean, I drew 2 3 times against him, and I hit all 3.
Wow.
And he checked like a jack behind me. He's supposed to bet the jack. I mean, he's like, I'm going to make a tight fold. I hadn't looked at my last card, but I'd looked at drew to the deuce 3-7. I saw a 6, and I'm like, I need him to bet. And then I'd peel an 8, and I'd be like, oh my God, I won no money with this. And what a great check. I mean, he kept doing that to me. He was really, I mean, he was fighting hard, man. He saved a lot of chips in those spots. So, so I have 9-8 deuce to come to the last hand. And I'm like, I got to go with this.
Right.
I don't even think I'm moving in with a 3-card 10. Probably have to with a 10-6 deuce. You probably have to because you're going to win so often. But I kept thinking, a lot of times these tournaments are won in the 2-card draw. I moved in, and he snap called. And now the hands are up right away. And he's drawing to a 10, like a 10-6 maybe. 10-6 4 deuce, and I have the 9-8 deuce. And I said, what do you want to do? And we're so jovial. You want to look first? Well, I said, let me look at my first card. and it was a 2 across, which means it's a 4 or 5. Perfect. That's the perfect sweat. Boom, flip it up. All of a sudden now I have, deuce 5, 8, 9, right? And he's still waiting, and I'm like, all right, let me peel this. It's a 3 across, which means it's a 6, a 7, or 8. If it's a 6 or 7, he doesn't have to look at his card. I just win. But if it's an 8, I could only win if he hits a 10. I've won tournaments like that, in deuce to 7, where someone actually hits the 10 and loses, And I said, do you want me to show you? Because I was afraid to look at it. And he's like, yeah, I want to see it. So I showed him first like this. And he looked a little bit. But you could tell that, he would have been happy it was an 8. So I could tell, all right, I just won the tournament. And I looked and it was a 7. So, very nice to hit the 5 and 7 to avoid, he was playing so good, we might have played 2, 3, 4 more hours. And so it was really nice to just kind of get it over with there. And it was probably 60% to win that hand or something. It was nice.
I asked Mike Massa this question, and I want to ask you the same one. When you already have 15 bracelets and you already have a 5 bracelet lead over the 3 guys that are on your heels, so to speak, what does 16 mean in that context? Because when you win 11 and everyone else is 10, you set yourself apart. Now, and I'm looking at it, now it's one more for the collection, but does it hold any special meaning?
Yeah, it holds special meaning. I was saying earlier that to have 3 final. I don't think anybody's ever had 4 tables in 15 days or whatever, ever in the history of the World Series, and to do it in 4 different disciplines, and none of them even hold them. That's Omaha 8 or better. That's horse. That's a stud, and now deuce to 7. You couldn't have 4 more different disciplines. I've worked my whole life to obtain this knowledge. And my weakness has been I get tired and blow it. But yeah, it's pretty incredible, and I think this bracelet's important because it tells people, it puts a spotlight on the fact that I am there a lot in mixed games. People don't know that. People aren't paying attention to what other people are doing. You have all these, no one knew I had a 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd until I told them that.
Right.
In the last 10 tournaments of the World Series, it's incredible. And now at first. It feels like in 12 tournaments, I've had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an 18, which is incredible, and none of them hold them. So, it feels good to me, but no one cares unless you win the bracelet.